everyone, I'm your host Neha and you're tuned into Durian Dreaming, the show that brings you extraordinary stories from seemingly ordinary experiences in Indonesia's fast-paced market. Let's dive into today's conversation with another inspiring guest. Hi everyone. Today on Durian Dreaming, we are joined by someone who's been quietly and very effectively shaping the way Indonesian eats, drinks, and thinks about health. Mr. Rudolf Tjandra, he is the CEO and President Director of Kalbe Nutritionals. He is one of those rare leaders who walk the path from marketer to top executive, from MNC boardrooms to the head of Indonesian owned businesses. Under his leadership, Kalbe portfolio has expanded with a deep connection to the Indonesian consumer, from Fitbar to Diabetsol and beyond. He's seen some trends come and go. He has steered companies through disruption and somehow kept a steady and thoughtful hand through it all. And today, we get to peek behind the curtain. So let's dive in. Welcome to Durian Dreaming, Rudolf. We are very excited to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Rudolf. So, Rudolf, I've got a bunch of questions lined up. Some are serious, some are funny, some are cheeky, but all in the spirit of learning from your journey.
All
So,
right.
shall we begin?
Sounds good to me.
Great. Let's start from the beginning. Kalbe Nutritional is now a very significant force in health and wellness industry.
Mm.
But before this, you've spent a lot of time in MNCs and in the local farms. So, what's the biggest cultural shock you faced when jumping between the two boardrooms, so from an MNC to a local firm?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a culture shock. It's more of a different way of doing things. Because
Okay.
when I was working with multinationals, the focus tend to be on the process. It was more about doing the right things right. But if you're talking about local companies like Kalbe, for example, or like Serta and also like, in fact, like Sampurna, the focus is much more on action. So action is defined as being everything. The most important thing is that for you to think fast and act even faster, which I think has its own benefits compared to when you focus too much on process. Because sometimes, we are talking about being paralyzed by analysis, right? So it's good to analyze things, but it's even better if we can actually move into action. I think for me, that's the major difference between MNC and local companies.
Yeah. You sort of answered my next question, but, I actually wanted to ask you also that, because you worked in both MNCs and local firms, and like you mentioned, that MNCs often come with their playbook and their processes and their PowerPoints. So I want to ask, what's one thing MNCs could learn from Indonesian-owned companies and vice versa?
Well, I believe whether we are an MNC at local companies, we both can learn from each other, right? In fact, some of the things that I really like being in an MNC, for example, is you learn about the process, you learn about doing analysis, right? You learn about being patient, basically, before you get into the market.
Yeah.
But then, to me, at least, in my own experience, I've got 3 decades of experience working for basically consumer-facing goods companies, right? And speed to market is everything because the Indonesian we are talking about Indonesia right now. Indonesia is an emerging market where things move very, very fast. Even we are talking about your consumer today is going to be very different from what your consumers were about 10 years ago, right? So the pace here in Indonesia is very, very fast. People are moving from, let's say, low middle class to middle class, then some of them going down to the lower middle class, others are going to upper middle classes. And we are talking about also a rapid urbanization, people moving from secondary cities to large cities, but everybody's having the same common purpose, a common goal, which is to be able to do better for themselves and also for their families. And that requires something for companies to be able to address that very, very quickly. Especially if you're talking right now, right? If you're talking about the whole total situation in terms of technological development, you're talking about globalization. Also, even if right now Trump is trying to undermine that, but I think globalization is also has also brought quite a big an impact for FMCG companies in Indonesia. And so being able to be in the market very quickly, that's very important. Now I'm being trusted to transform our Kalbe Consumer Health and Kalbe Nutritional. These two divisions, made up about 50% of total Kalbe sales. And so Kalbe is a very big company. About 50% of the sales is in pharmaceutical, ethical products, and also they've got a thriving medical devices businesses.
Yeah. So, Rudolf, you rightly mentioned that, Kalbe's portfolio are about solutions, not just the products, and very health concerning solutions, which every day-to-day life, all of us are facing at some point or the other. So, your portfolio has brands that speaks to diabetics, to moms, to athletes, the whole gamut, right? How do you keep it all feeling fresh and relevant in a market that's changing faster than TikTok trends?
Mm, Well, you've got a point there. That's I think that's one of the reasons that I was very interested in joining Kalbe because I thought there are lots of things that we can do to improve in terms of being able uh to to create more relevance for our brands to the consumers, right? Because relevancy is everything, I think. Because basically the way to win the market in Indonesia, perhaps is also somewhere else, is but creating a unique, sustainable position, right? Unique, sustainable, competitive position so that you can offer a product that is seen as different from the rest, right? So this is, I think, Kalbe has many good products, but one of the things that we need to do that I think we are doing pretty well right now is like any other companies in Indonesia, you need to continue to rejuvenate. Because you need to continue to be young in the sense that because even though if we're talking about ourselves, the older people, they want to feel younger, they want to look younger, right? That's why all these cosmetics and all these aesthetic surgery and everything, right? You've got a lot of young people within Indonesian population, right? We're talking about Gen Z, millennial, making up perhaps more than 60% of total market, right? So rejuvenation is everything. You need to keep the brand young. Then on the second part, you need to premiumize because premiumize doesn't mean that you need to be very expensive. That premiumize doesn't mean you need to be unavoidable, right? Premiumize means that you have the credibility to say that I'm better than everyone else. And when you are talking about premiumization here, I always think that we need to be able to understand that our consumers, right? Even most of us in Jakarta.
There are two types of consumers now. There are ones which are being raised on YouTube ads, not TVCs. But we do know that TV still dominates ad spend in Indonesia. But digital is catching up fast. So, do you think we are at a tipping point, or will TV still rule Java for years to come?
TV is going to remain very important. And also watching TVs together with your family and everything is kind of a family rituals for many families in Indonesia, right?
Yeah.
And so TV is going to remain very important. And again, but then again, you have YouTube, you have TikTok, and you have all these other online platforms. They're also going to be very important because they have become part of our life, right? It's just the way I think. I should say that it's always about being able for us to embrace the fact that as we move forward year after year, more and more development innovation is going to come up, right? And these innovations, like for example, the way we address our consumers, the way people seek their information, the way people gets their enjoyment, those things are going to come up with multi-platforms going to be this multi-platform is going to remain to be so, I think, for many years to come.
Right. With so much of digital penetration and so many resources at one's disposal to talk to our consumers, Uh, that's one part. Now, AI is also another part, and which is everywhere. From your chatbots to targeting to product development to even podcast scripts. So, is it a real game changer for companies like Kalbe?
Well, I think AI is going to be a very important part of the way we do businesses, not
Okay.
only for Kalbe, but for everyone else. Right? It's not so much that AI going to replace anyone, but it's more about us being able to utilize this new technology to help us to do our job better. Because it's a tool after all, right? After all, it's a tool. It's something that can help you to be sharper, something that can help you to be more efficient, to be more effective, but it's not going to be replacing you. I think the challenge is not about human and AI, but the challenge is between human who can do AI and who can utilize AI and human who can do that.
So, if you had to give AI a job title in your marketing team, what would it be? Like an intern, like a manager, or a CMO?
I think I would describe AI as marketing support for marketing.
Okay.
You're talking about marketing, right?
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
it's AI for everyone, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in sales, whether you're in manufacturing. AI is the support guy. Is the support guy. He may not be right all of the time, but he has a lot of information, right? He has a lot of potential, right?
Hmm.
And that it also helps us to widen our own horizon whenever if we use this support guy right? We need to be able to I would say that in marketing it's going to be marketing support, in manufacturing it's going to be manufacturing support. Basically,
Okay.
it's of course it's a managerial position, right?
Hmm.
But then, yeah, the task is going to be all about support.
All right. Rudolf, let's talk leadership. Indonesians are young, diverse, and dynamic. So, what kind of leadership style actually works in this environment? Command and control, or more very collaborative and relaxed?
Well, I believe we have moved from that command and control era. We're going to the knowledge era. You want everyone to be able to contribute. We want everyone to be able to collaborate. You want everyone to be able to uh, express their thought. They may be wrong, they might be right, right? But when everyone is able to express their thought, right, and everyone is able to contribute, I think you're gonna get a much better decision in terms of
Hmm.
much better decision. And but then of course, companies are not democracy.
Hmm.
Right? Companies is about everyone working towards the same vision. But
Hmm.
that one driving force is going to be the vision. And I think the job leadership now is to make sure that we have that vision. Then everybody, I think what define good leadership and bad leadership is about being able to turn that vision into reality.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Rudolph, if let's rewind. So,
Mm.
if you started out in marketing and you've worked across many categories and across regions. So, if you met your 25-year-old self today, what career advice would you give him?
Well, I would say perhaps I don't know. I'm kind of satisfied with the way things are.
That's brilliant.
Basically, yeah, I would say just like if you're in your 20s, you should be able to do many different things, right?
Okay.
You can work for this company, that company, enter this
Hmm.
category, that category, right? You want to learn a lot of things, right? And it's of 25, right? Once you reach your 30s, of course, you really want to work uh, uh, in a company where your passion and your passion, your vision, and your ability is aligned, right? Are aligned.
Hmm.
So, and at that time, I mean, my passion, for example, right? My
Hmm.
passion has always been about transforming company because I really like it.
Right. And for young Indonesians who are probably looking to start a CPG career at Kalbe, what do you look for in their CVs?
Well, first of all, of course, I think a good education is very important,
Mhm.
and also open-mindedness, right? Open-mindedness, the willingness to learn, and also I like people also who are
Hmm.
motivated not only because of the pay, not only because of the work, but they're basically a motivated person. We're talking basically a motivated individual who wants who wants to win, who wants to excel in whatever they do.
Thank you, Rudolf, for a very candid conversation, for sharing your very vibrant journey and sharing your insights and the challenges you faced and how it is to jump from an MNC to a local company and thrive in it. So thanks once again for taking out the time to be on Durian Dreaming. And we look forward to hosting this podcast and publishing this podcast soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Neha.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Durian Dreaming. I hope today's discussion sparked some new ideas for you. Don't forget to subscribe, share your thoughts, and stay tuned for more exciting stories. Until next time, keep dreaming big.